Hey, what's going on, guys? Dork Cinema here, and I'm coming to you with another cool news video here. This one, how to train your dragon 3 could have a Toy Story 3 arc. This is a really interesting one because, as you guys know from a previous video I uploaded, which was blocked, but then it should be backed up, it was that How to Train Your Dragon 3 was moved to a summer 2018 release. So it's about 3 years from now. We're going to see Hiccup and Toothless probably for the last time on the big screen. I'll read you the article. It's a very short article, but I want to read this to you. There were dragons when I was a boy. You'll have to take my word for it. So says Hiccup Horrendous Haddock III at the very start of the children's fantasy novel How to Train Your Dragon, which was later loosely adapted into a hugely successful animated film by DreamWorks Pictures. Last year's sequel, How to Train Your Dragon 2, caught up with Hiccup at the latter end of his adolescence, when his adventures with his loyal dragon Toothless reunited him with a long-lost family member and elevated both Hiccup and Toothless to leader status. Thanks to the wide critical acclaim and healthy box office gross for the first two films, How to Train Your Dragon 3 is on the way with a release date set for summer 2018. How to Train Your Dragon 2 writer and director Don DeBlue is returning to both roles for the third installment of the series, which features the voice of Jay Baruchel, I believe it's how you pronounce his name, I can never get his name right, as Hiccup. Quite a few years passed between How to Train Your Dragon and How to Train Your Dragon 2, which raises the question of just how old Hiccup will be when he returns to theaters 3 years from now. To allay concerns that it might feature a middle-aged, grizzled version of the character rather than an enthusiastic youth, however, DeBlue has said in an interview with Collider that the third film will be the, quote, culmination of Hiccup's coming-of-age story. What does that mean for Hiccup and Toothless, though? He said, and I quote, "Both he and Toothless are now chiefs of their respective tribes, and it's a dueling story where you have both characters trying to do what's right for their kind, and an eventual outcome where Hiccup is able to stand on his own. We're going to take the story to where the books begin, which is Hiccup as an adult reflecting back on a time where there were dragons, suggesting that the dragons will in some way go away. Why, and could they come back, and the mystery of what all that is will be saved for the actual story." Parting ways with a childhood friend is a fairly common trope in coming-of-age stories, and perhaps the most poignant example of it is in the recent animated film history was Toy Story 3, in which Andy is faced with the prospect of going away to college and deciding what to do with all his toys. Released 15 years after the original film, Toy Story 3 was perfectly timed as a tearjerker for people who have watched Toy Story when they were young kids, and were now at a stage in life that involved moving out, going to college, and even having kids of their own. Many tears were shed. When DeBlue seemed to suggest that How to Train Your Dragon 3 could follow a similar arc by addressing the topic of how and why the dragons begin to disappear, to the point that they are almost all gone by the time Hiccup is an old man. It's worth remembering at this point that DeBlue has said that there won't be a How to Train Your Dragon 4, so How to Train Your Dragon 3 could potentially end with Toothless and the other dragons leaving for good. DeBlue also told Collider that he is currently on page 60 in the screenplay writing process, and that the villain, Drago Bloodfist, will return in How to Train Your Dragon 3 and become, quote, a lot more complex as a character. Does this mean he'll be a reformed man, or will he return to his evil ways? How to Train Your Dragon 3 will release on June 29th, 2018. This was one of the movie series that I really just, I ignored the first one because I thought, like, after DreamWorks, like, I didn't really catch on to any of DreamWorks films until I saw Rise of the Guardians, which was a good film, and I highly recommend it despite its problems. It's really weird because, you know, I was 15 when the first How to Train Your Dragon came out, so I was about Hiccup's age, and when How to Train Your Dragon 2 came out, I was the same age as Hiccup again, so it's really weird growing up at the same rate as this character, as we see him in different points of his life. Yeah, this I think, for people growing up with Toothless and Hiccup and everything, it'll be very sad to see them go. But I'm really glad they're sticking to a trilogy that they're sticking to a trilogy rather than dragging out the franchise longer than it needs to be dragged out. That is fantastic, and I applaud DreamWorks for doing it. Will it be sad not to? Will it be sad? Oh, that's my phone. Will it be sad to see Toothless and Hiccup gone for good? Yes, it will be. It would be very sad, but at the same time, you just kind of have to nod your head and go, yeah, you know what, this probably is the right thing to do. And then probably a few years from then, they'll decide, we can do it one more How to Train Your Dragon. I'm just kidding. But, yeah, let me know what you guys think. I can't put up any clips because, unfortunately, last time I put up DreamWorks clips, my video got taken down. So hopefully I'm just going to put up some photos for you from, like, How to Train Your Dragon 1 and 2, like, 1 or 2 photos. But, yeah, I don't want to have DreamWorks jumping down my throat again for using any footage, even if it is from trailers. But whatever. So let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about this? I probably have another video coming up very soon about a very important announcement I will be making for a future video series. This is our Cinema. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye, guys.